Vehicle sales were up in July, but do the numbers truly indicate a strong industry recovery? I'm Karl Brauer, editor-at-large at Edmunds.com, and I'm here with our CEO, Jeremy Anwyl, and our senior analysts, Jessica Caldwell, and joining us from Detroit on the phone is Michelle Krebs. Now, Jeremy, we're into both year-end clearance efforts plus a lot of new model introductions. Normally, July would be a strong month with those things helping out. Does a sales rate of 11.5 million units really deserve celebration at this point?
Probably not, although you'd have to wonder, because all the car companies are sending out press releases and they're all talking about sales increases, and I think a casual observer would look at that and think that the car business is roaring again. But when you really step back, I don't think that's the case at all. As you pointed out, July should be the month this year where if there's going to be some strong sales, they really start to kick in, because consumers who've been waiting all year, waiting for that deal, maybe they've been putting money into their car and they're just tired of repair bills. This is the time to buy. And there are those buyers who are out in the marketplace today, but not in great numbers. So I would look at the July results and say they're disappointing.
Especially when you look at the incentive spend, there's definitely, if you want a deal, there's deals out there from a lot of different automakers. So it wasn't as if automakers stood back and thought to themselves, no, we're not going to put the cash out there. It was out there, starting with 4th of July and going throughout the month, and as you mentioned, the sales downs. So people were in the marketplace. They definitely had things to take advantage of.
Kind of a mixed bag, though. Chrysler incentives, it's worth noting, were actually down quite a bit over last year, but then other car companies came in and actually increased their spend. Toyota's probably the one that's most significant.
Right. Well, Nissan had record incentives,
that's
too.
true, for that record for them.
Yeah. Michelle, what do you think?
Well, I think that we're seeing exactly what we had talked about earlier in this year. This is not going to be a smooth sailing kind of recovery. This is a bumpy one. In fact, one executive said to me today, don't you just love roller coasters? And that's what we're seeing. And in fact, what it looks like to me is that we're seeing consumers just very cautiously tiptoe back into the showrooms, and usually because they absolutely need to. They need a vehicle. The one they have has worn out. And I think where we saw a lot of that was in higher SUV and truck sales.
So we've got this sort of fundamental tension going on between consumers doing the right thing for them, which is to sort of deleverage and pay down debt and get rid of high interest loans on credit cards and what have you. And that's good for consumers, but bad for the economy, because obviously for the economic recovery to continue, we need them to spend, spend, spend.
Well, one of the places it looked like they spent a little more in July than they have in the past was on those truck sales, as Michelle mentioned. And it was interesting because we know that fleet dropped, but truck sales still were strong.
Right, we had the best month for truck sales that we've seen since last October when it was National Truck Month. So, I mean, at that high of a market share, I mean, there's definitely some interest brewing, whether it is just fleet, but there had to be some consumers getting back into that segment. It could be, like we've seen in midsize sedan, a return to the basics. Get what you need, not anything else.
Think sales are going to pick up the rest of the year, or how do you?
I think August will look good. I think we'll see those sell down
compared to July,
sales.
Meaning better than July, or about the same?
I'm going to go on a limb and say better than July.
Better than July, okay.
We'll see some of those sales pick up as the model year clear out events happen and get more aggressive. I think the fall could be weak, and then we'll probably see a spike at the end of the year when people again run to the deal and they think end of the year blowouts are happening.
So we're thinking we're going to end up the year at about what, 11.3 is the current forecast?
Somewhere around there, I would say it has to be. I mean, we've averaged the first 6 months less than 11.2, so unless there's a stellar last 6 months, it can't go a lot higher.
Not much of a recovery.
Exactly.
I think it's clear that it's going to be a pretty bumpy road one way or the other, but we'll keep looking at it. And if you want more on this information or any other information about the industry, please check out autoobserver.com.